Hey, welcome back. My guests in this segment are Philip Walsh and John Sanderson. They are both directors and co-founders of Time Machine Capital. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Philip, let's start with you. Tell me, what does Time Machine Capital do?
So we are an incubator of artificial intelligence technologies. We started in the UK, and John and I have been talking about bringing a lot of what we do to North America. Canada is a great place for us to do that. So we incubate and provide seed capital to artificial intelligence technologies.
So this is an AI
It
investment
certainly is,
bank.
absolutely.
Brilliant. I've been waiting for one of these to come through. Now, John, you're a Canadian and you've got some experience in the artificial intelligence space through your previous relationships?
Well, my previous relationship was a business specialized in ERP resource systems, enterprise resource systems. And I exited early this year. And beginning of 2017, I started looking at artificial intelligence. And Montreal just seemed to be this epicenter of where all this activity was happening. And our conversations with Philip just aligned, and being a tech guy and AI coming in, this was the area to reinvent some of the technologies that are out there right now.
Mm-hmm. So you guys have a business model, as I understand it, where you're sourcing artificial intelligence technologies that are evolved through universities around the world?
Yeah, so we started, in fact both of us are very strongly connected with mid-tier universities, and we started in the UK a few years back with mid-tier universities where the opportunities are more substantial because some of the bigger universities typically have well-organized alumni and, if you like, a chain of connections that allow them to access capital in the markets quite easily. Whereas in the UK, we found that the mid-tier universities were struggling to find ways in which they could get some of these technologies to market, partners to commercialize them. And then in conversations with John, I realized that actually it's a similar setup here, albeit smaller. But in the UK, we are now, given what we've managed to produce out of our current portfolio, we are now being approached by some large universities. So we've started engaging Cambridge University, for example, in the UK, which I was quite surprised about. But at the end of the day, I think there are so many opportunities to bring to market that people are looking for anyone that can help them both raise the capital correctly for them and bring them to market. So a lot of these technologies come out very early. The talent is the hard part to find. Mm-hmm. And nurturing that talent and bringing things to market in AI is what we see as the future we see this as the next wave of computing, as many people do. Mm-hmm. And so from our point of view, we're going to be busy for the next several years.
Sure. Okay, so it sounds like you're going to start to put together a portfolio of different AI projects that are ultimately going to be incubated until the point of commercial viability.
Yep.
Do you have any examples you can start with?
I do, actually. In fact, if it's possible to put one up on screen, I can show you an example.
I think there must be a clip. What do we got here?
So let me show you what this is. This is actually a music technology that was brought to us by a university in London, and it is the first technology that allows music to be instantly edited to video by anyone. What we've actually done is, using artificial intelligence, we've effectively iconized music expressions. And we map this to a video that you just drop in. So you drop in your asset, which in this case is a video. You align your icons to the storyline on the timeline, and then you are able to select from libraries that we are now engaged with across the globe, actually, Sony, Warner, BMG, Universal, and others. You're able to drop in a soundtrack for this film instantly. So what you're looking at here typically would take half a day in an edit suite. We can do in about a minute. Now, the implication of this is there are in excess of 2 million YouTube channels that purchase music today. You've got professional YouTubers that are trying to add music to videos all the time, be they DIY programs, cookery programs, etc. You'll now see, as this plays the soundtrack, that effectively in a minute you've created a soundtrack to this video. Now, the really interesting part is, as that music plays to this video, and I'll let that play in the background, the point being, you've written the storyboard and now you can drop in any track. Each time you change a timeline or a track to this type of video, again, it's probably half a day in an edit suite. This changes the entire world for creators that want to add music. It allows all of us to be instant creators. Okay. We're all taking videos all day long with our iPhones and other phones, But we can't add music to those videos and post them on social media.
Right.
This technology allows you to do that.
Okay, so there's, how is this going to be monetized?
So we are launching with a subscription model for this technology with some big labels. They are quite keen for us to use the catalogues. We have as a result of the AI technology, which this is the interesting part about AI, is once you start down a road in AI, you discover that the AI capabilities start to become more broad. So for example, the ability to add, again, any soundtrack to this video instantly also means that the AI in this instance has become something that can use the DNA of a track, because it's what we do ultimately at our core. We break down music and we assemble it to identify the types of music you'd be looking for. So in this instance, this application would allow any creator to, as I say, add music to video for a subscription per month. Very difficult to do today. If you actually created a video today, wanted to launch it on YouTube, buy music, edit it and post it, it's a very difficult process. And typically you'd use multiple third parties in that instance. You'd go to a third party website to buy the music. You'd have to audition the music against your videos. You might use an edit suite. You'd then go to catalogues. Trying to buy a track for what your usage requirements are is also complicated. Then you need to edit the music to the video and then you're going to post it. In one application you can do all of that within one ecosystem.
Okay, so we produce a lot of video here.
Yep.
It's, we're actually work on a feature-length documentary, but we also produce mini branded content pieces for companies. And we use a service which is a monthly subscription service that gives us free access to a deep catalog.
Yep.
How would we be able to use this in that scenario?
You certainly would.
Okay.
We would pipe that catalog into this application, which would allow. This is very good for short form video.
Okay.
Which is obviously the way in which the world's moving.
Right.
When we originally got involved with this technology, half the world believes that ultimately music will end up in the hands of artificial intelligence that generates music, known as generative composition, with companies like Amazon playing big roles in there. You've got Alexa in your house, you might ask Alexa for a playlist or jazz, and you're not necessarily sure whether an artist is behind that music, whether royalties are being paid to that artist, because you've just got the playlist coming out of the speakers in your house.
Sure.
The other application of AI, which we are favourable to as we launch, is using existing music and allowing people to edit that music to anything they want, any content, short form content typically, which could range from you've got a child's birthday that you want to take a video of and you've got a favourite soundtrack, you want to be able to take the track from your streaming service, drop it onto the video, have it auto resize itself and then post it to social media and it not be taken down. Or you might be somebody that takes a lot of care on your videos, GoPro users for example, you've done a tightrope walk in China and you want a good soundtrack to it. Typically you've got the footage from the camera and now you need to add music to that video. So in that sense, this is an application that will allow you to do that very quickly and easily.
Okay, so Time Machine Capital has made the initial investment in this company and
Yep.
it is now in control of it?
Well, we are, as time moves forward,
Time machine.
Time machine.
Right.
As time moves forward, what we do is we provide the seed capital and we bring it to market. Then we bring third-party investors to our propositions.
Okay.
And obviously, by natural causes, we dilute our shareholding as we bring third-party capital in.
Sure.
So we are, for example, on that investment, we're up 500% on today's valuation of the company. We can see that doing another couple of financing rounds in the next year or so, where we would increase our value of that investment again 3, 5, 7, 8, 10-fold.
Sure. And you have a pipeline of these types of projects?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and you're going to go public at some point here in Q4 2018?
We are very much looking forward to it on the CSE here.
Oh, fantastic.
And we've received a great deal of support from everyone here, actually, the entire community. It seems that at the moment in Canada, there is a real governmental push. John's closer to this than I am, but a real governmental push behind technology, but specifically AI. And we are definitely the beneficiaries of that in the sense that there is a lot of interest now being seen around the understanding of artificial intelligence. I think a few years ago, people weren't really clear on what artificial intelligence could mean, the implications of artificial intelligence. I think that's changing over time, and we are early to that curve and well positioned to take advantage of it.
Very cool. And so, John, you've got a relationship base in Canada with the universities that might be a source of additional projects for the pipeline.
Correct.
What is the environment in Canada that makes you enthusiastic that there will be a steady supply of quality projects to this pipeline?
Yeah, there's multiple levels where that is being incubated. So at the government level, the Ministry of Science and Economic Development has implemented the superclusters, and there's approximately about 5 of them across the country right now.
Superclusters, what is that?
They'll have specialization uses in applications from supply chain to FICO or
All within
fintech.
AI, under the AI umbrella?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's a way for them to see what's happening across the country, as well as through the incubators that they've set up, and government funds incubators within universities and non-for-profit incubators as well.
Okay.
So they get a sense, and they get to see with applications of funding through government programs like NSERC and others, they're able to see clearly, get a picture of what's happening in AI across the country, and then develop the regions, make sure that rural areas are being cultivated properly, as well as having a firm handle on where their economic interests can lie, and where heavier investment or less investment is needed.
Interesting. Okay, so I want to finish this off with one of the biggest problems I have with different investors when we talk about artificial intelligence is understanding what is artificial intelligence. So, I mean, from the standpoint that a computer is a form of artificial intelligence, one would argue, but where all of the inputs and all of the decisions are made by a human operator. At what point does something like a computer technology become an artificial intelligence technology?
Well, I'll give John half of that. I'll take the first piece, which is one of the reasons we set up Time Machine Capital was actually to allow investors. We had many questions that we fielded around this area. And the reason we set up Time Machine Capital originally was precisely because so few people understand artificial intelligence that actually allowing them to come into a portfolio of opportunities is often much easier. It's a softer way for people to find an entry point into investing in artificial intelligence. And most people realize there's something going on. There's something happening. It's very big. It's very important. Governments are talking about it. Everyone's talking about the implication of it. And the question for a lot of people was, how do I get involved? How do I find a way in? So that's why we set up Time Machine Capital in the first place. As to, John, I'll hand over to you. Well, as to what it actually is, the essence of this, because it's a very good question. Very few people...
Usually I just pretend I know, but since you guys actually do know.
It's a very, very good question, because I think many people would have different answers to that. And I'll throw it over to John, only because it's a difficult question.
But
Your turn.
My answer will be one of 1,000 answers.
Sure.
Right? So I guess in a nutshell is, what can a system learn? If we talk about, we talk about AI as if it's a person when we're having discussions. Oh, well, AI will do that, and AI will do this. So what is it that it's learning? So it takes data, whether it's visual data, turns it into ones and zeros, whether it's sound data, and turns it into ones and datas, and can do statistical predictions. So anything that we think that we have intuition around, the computer will know statistically that it's correct. So if it's, whether it's editing video to sound, it knows that through the sound footprint that there's a peak point here, then there's a peak point in the video, then these algorithms work to get those done. And the real premise behind it is, what is AI? AI is being discovered in laboratories with scientists and researchers, and then those findings are actually being applied by us at Time Machine for other purposes. So we're taking, hey, what can we do with that sound algorithm in AI? And Time Machine has built, or Matchtracks has built, a suite that edits music to it.
Right.
So this is what we're doing. We're looking for unique, really highly commercial applications that we can take science and apply to in the real world.
Okay, so it doesn't imply that the machine is conscious.
It could, because there's different kinds of learning. So there's supervised learning, there's semi-supervised, and then in cases like at Facebook or at Google, there's unsupervised.
Right.
And then that's where
So the machines are allowed to learn whatever they want.
Correct.
Okay, so this is now the final question, because on the one hand you've got Elon Musk warning humanity against unbridled development of AI because this is the biggest threat to humanity, and then you've got Mark Zuckerberg over there saying that no, AI is fine and we're just going to continue to develop it and freely so because this is a free market economy. Which of those is more accurate?
It's whether guns kill people or not. Right? It's the hands that they're in, perhaps.
Yeah, my personal view is that there are many good things that can be drawn from the application of artificial intelligence. I don't believe there is a huge negative to this, any more so than there's a negative to any technology or innovation that's created for. If it's used for good, it's used for good. If it's used for evil, it's used for evil. At the end of the day, it's people that will ultimately make that decision. So, there's an argument to say that it's not really about the machines making that conscious decision.
Right.
It's where we take them from this point onwards. So they're all very good. They're very valid points. From our point of view, we're not really doing the evil stuff. We're
Right.
going to focus on commercializing the fun stuff and the interesting stuff. And
Sure.
I'm sure there are people in different places that have to worry about this, and they think about that every day. But I think AI is potentially a huge benefit to mankind across the board.
Okay, and a great economic opportunity in the meantime, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, we're going to leave it there, gentlemen. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Thanks
Thanks,
very
James.
much.
And we're